Okay, today is the 20th of August and we are on the 41st chapter of the Samyutta Nikaya called the Citta Samyutta. We've gone through 7 suttas yesterday. Today we come to Sutta 41.8. Now on that occasion, Niganta Nataputta had arrived at Machikasanda together with a large retinue of Nigantas. Citta, the householder, heard about this, and together with a number of lay followers, approached Niganta Nataputta. He exchanged greetings with Niganta Nataputta, and when they had concluded their greetings and cordial talk, sat down to one side. Stop here for a moment. These Nigantas, they are these ascetics, also known as Jains, and they are naked ascetics. Just that they have a small cloth to cover their private part. Other than that, they are naked, and they are extreme vegetarians. In fact, they are vegans. Anything to do with animals, they won't eat or drink. Like milk also, they don't take. And even vegetables, if the vegetable or leaf is green, so they consider to have life, but they won't take. Only when the leaf has turned brownish, and only they take. Why I mention this because my friend's father-in-law was a doctor in India in his younger days, and he was called to a house to see an old lady who was suffering from malnutrition. But this family was rich, so then he realized that they follow the Nigantas, the Jains, so they are extreme vegetarian practice. Niganta Nataputta then said to him, "Householder, do you have faith in the ascetic Gautama when he says, there is concentration without thought directed and sustained. There is cessation of thought directed and sustained." And Citta said, "In this matter, Venerable Sir, I do not go by faith in the Blessed One when he says, there is a concentration without thought directed and sustained. There is a cessation of thought directed and sustained." When this was said, Niganta Nataputta looked up proudly towards his own retinue and said, "See this, sirs, how straightforward is this Citta, the householder, how honest and open. One who thinks that thought directed and sustained can be stopped might imagine he could catch the wind in a net or arrest the current of the river Ganges with his own fish." Stop here for a moment. This one, the Buddha taught that in the first jhana, you have one of the 5 jhana factors is vitakka and vichara, thought directed and sustained. But when you enter the second jhana, this thought directed and sustained stops. The second jhana is also called the state of the Aryan silence. And the mind stops talking because there's no thought at all. The mind is so concentrated that no thought can arise. So this Niganta must have heard about this, but he didn't believe because he doesn't have the skill in meditation, hasn't attained the second jhana. So he asked this Citta, and Citta says he doesn't believe, doesn't go by faith in what the Buddha says concerning this. So this Niganta thought that this Citta sided with him. So he praised this Citta. And then Citta asked him, "What do you think, Venerable Sir? Which is superior, knowledge or faith?" "Knowledge, householder, is superior to faith." And Citta said, "Well, Venerable Sir, to whatever extent I wish, secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome states, I enter and dwell in the first jhana, which is accompanied by thought directed and sustained, with delight and happiness born of seclusion. Then, to whatever extent I wish, with the subsiding of thought directed and sustained, I enter and dwell in the second jhana. Then, to whatever extent I wish, with the fading away as well of delight, I enter and dwell in the third jhana. Then, to whatever extent I wish, with the abandoning of pleasure and pain, I enter and dwell in the fourth jhana. Since I know and see thus, Venerable Sir, in what other ascetic or Brahmin need I place faith regarding the claim that there is a concentration without thought directed and sustained, the cessation of thought directed and sustained. I stop here for a moment. So here, Citta is saying that he can easily enter the 4 jhanas. And because he has entered the 4 jhanas, he has experienced this state in the 2nd jhana upwards, where thought directed and sustained ceases naturally. So he says he has the knowledge of it, the experience of it. That's why he doesn't need to have faith in what the Buddha says. When this was said, Niganta Nataputta looked askance at his own retinue and said, "See this, sirs, how crooked is this Citta the householder, how fraudulent and deceptive." And Citta said, "Just now, Venerable Sir, we understood you to say, 'See this, sirs, how straightforward is this Citta the householder, how honest and open.' Yet now we understand you to say, 'See this, sirs, how crooked is this Citta the householder, how fraudulent and deceptive.' If your former statement is true, Venerable Sir, then your latter statement is false. While if your former statement is false, then your latter statement is true. Further, Venerable Sir, these 10 reasonable questions come up. When you understand their meaning, then you might respond to me along with your retinue. 1 question, 1 synopsis, 1 answer. 2 questions, 2 synopsis, 2 answers. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 questions, 10 synopsis, 10 answers. Then Citta the householder rose from his seat and departed without having asked Niganta Nataputta these 10 reasonable questions. It's the end of the sutta. So when Citta said that he has that experience of that concentration without directed and sustained, and this Niganta Nataputta, he got angry. He said, "Well, it's a crooked fellow." Then Citta told him, normally when the Buddha taught his disciples, if they meet this type of external ascetics who like to argue, and then you ask them these 10 things, 1 question, 1 synopsis, 1 answer, and then 2 and 3 up to 10, and they won't be able to answer. But this Citta, I just mentioned this, but the Citta knows that this Niganta won't be able to answer. So without asking, he just left. This Niganta Nataputta, his other name is Mahavira, I think. He's the leader, the founder of this Niganta sect. And he's one of the 6 famous external sect leaders at the time of the Buddha. And all of these 6, they don't teach the correct Dhamma. But they are famous still. They have a lot of followers. This world, a lot of people don't have much wisdom because of being covered by the 5 hindrances. So a lot of people cannot see clearly what is right Dhamma, what is wrong Dhamma. 41.9. On that occasion, the naked ascetic Kassapa, who in lay life had been an old friend of Citta the householder, had arrived in Matikasanda. Citta the householder heard about this and approached the naked ascetic Kassapa. He exchanged greetings with him, and when they had concluded the greetings and cordial talk, he sat down to one side and said to him, "How long has it been, Venerable Kassapa, since you went forth?" "It has been 30 years, householder, since I went forth." "In these 30 years, Venerable Sir, have you attained any superhuman distinction in knowledge and vision, worthy of the noble ones, the Aryans, any dwelling in comfort?" And he said, "In these 30 years since I went forth, householder, I have not attained any superhuman distinction in knowledge and vision, worthy of the noble ones, no dwelling in comfort, but only nakedness and the shaven head, and the brush for cleaning my seat." Stop here for a moment. So this Kassapa is an old friend of Citta, and he has renounced for 30 years as a naked ascetic, and now he came back to Matikasanda, and he acknowledged that he did not attain any Aryan stage, any supernormal state, but he only had this nakedness, the shaven head, the bald head, and the brush for cleaning the seat. What is this brush for cleaning the seat? Because he goes around naked, so every time he wants to sit on the ground. These ascetics, when they go to the forest, they go anywhere, they have to sit on the ground. So when he sits on the ground, his backside is exposed. The pebbles and the stones will prick his backside. So he has to use the brush to clean away all the big stones so that he can sit without being poked by all the stones. When this was said, Citta, the householder, said to him, "It is wonderful indeed, sir. It is amazing indeed, sir, how well expounded is the Dhamma, in that after 30 years you have not attained any superhuman distinction in knowledge and vision worthy of the noble ones, nor dwelling in comfort, but only nakedness and the shaven head and the brush for cleaning your seat." So Citta was surprised that the Buddha's Dhamma Vinaya is so good and that a person can attain this Aryan states. But this naked ascetic, after suffering for 30 years as a naked ascetic, and still had attained nothing. And then Kassapa asked him, "But householder, how long has it been since you became a lay follower?" That means a lay follower of the Buddha. "In my case too, Venerable Sir, it has been 30 years. In these 30 years, householder, have you attained any superhuman distinction in knowledge and vision worthy of the noble ones, any dwelling in comfort?" And Citta said, "How could I not, Venerable Sir? For to whatever extent I wish, secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome states, I enter and dwell in the first jhana, which is accompanied by thought directed and sustained, with delight and happiness born of seclusion. Then to whatever extent I wish, with the subsiding of thought directed and sustained, I enter and dwell in the second jhana. Then to whatever extent I wish, with the fading away as well of delight, I enter and dwell in the third jhana. Then to whatever extent I wish, with the abandoning of pleasure and pain, I enter and dwell in the fourth jhana. Further, if I were to die before the Blessed One does, it would not be surprising if the Blessed One were to declare of me, there is no fetter bound by which Citta the householder could return to this world." When this was said, I stop here for a moment. So Citta is saying that he can attain the 4 jhanas which are considered superhuman states, supernormal, uttari manusa dhamma, super normal states which a normal person cannot attain. Also, Citta says if he were to die, the Buddha would say that he is a non-returner. He will not come back to this human world, will not be reborn in this human world. When this was said, the naked ascetic Kassapa said to Citta the householder, "It is wonderful indeed, sir. It is amazing indeed, sir, how well expounded is the Dhamma, in that a layman clothed in white can attain a superhuman distinction in knowledge and vision worthy of the noble ones, a dwelling in comfort. May I receive the going forth in this Dhamma Vinaya. May I receive the higher ordination." So he is so impressed that Kassapa, even as a layman enjoying the family life, can attain such high states, whereas he is suffering as a naked ascetic and yet cannot attain anything. So he asked Citta to bring him to ordain. Then Citta the householder took the naked ascetic Kassapa to the elder monks and said to them, "Venerable sirs, this naked ascetic Kassapa is an old friend of ours from lay life. Let the elders give him the going forth. Let them give him the higher ordination. I will be zealous in providing him with robes, alms, food, lodging, and medicinal requisites." Then the naked ascetic Kassapa received the going forth in this Dhamma Vinaya. He received the higher ordination, and soon, not long after his higher ordination, dwelling alone, withdrawn, diligent, ardent, and resolute, the Venerable Kassapa, by realizing it for himself with direct knowledge, in this very life, entered and dwelt in that unsurpassed goal of the holy life, for the sake of which clansmen rightly go forth from the household life into homelessness. He directly knew, destroyed his birth, the holy life has been lived, what had to be done has been done, there is no more for this state of being, and the Venerable Kassapa became one of the Arahants. So here it says, soon, not long after his higher ordination, he attained Arahanthood. This soon, not long after his high ordination, will be at least a few years, because normally he has to train under a teacher for at least 5 years. Then after that, he's allowed to go and live alone and do his work very hard to attain liberation. So normally, even during the Buddha's time, monks would take at least more than 10 years or 20 years and then become arahants. But there are, of course, exceptions like Sariputta and Moggallana and Mahakassapa and all that. The next sutta, 41.10. Now on that occasion, Citta the householder was sick, afflicted, gravely ill. Citta was dying. Then a number of park devatas, grove devatas, tree devatas, and devatas dwelling in medicinal herbs and forest giants assembled and said to Citta the householder, "Make a wish, householder. Make a wish thus. May I become a wheel-turning monarch in the future." Stop here for a moment. This wheel-turning monarch is a universal monarch. That means he rules over the whole earth. The whole earth wants him to become the king. And this was said, Citta the householder said to those devatas, "That too is impermanent, that too is unstable. One must abandon that too and pass on." So Citta is saying, even that state of a wheel-turning monarch, although it's such a happy state, but it is impermanent. Even that will pass away. When this was said, Citta the householder's friends and companions, relatives and kinsmen said to him, "Set up mindfulness, master, don't babble." And he said, "What did I say that makes you speak to me thus?" And they said, "You said to us, that too is impermanent, that too is unstable. One must abandon that too and pass on." Stop here for a moment. So these friends and relatives, they could not see the devas speaking to Citta. So they thought he was out of his mind. His mind was not stable. So he's simply babbling, simply talking nonsense. And he said, "That was because park devatas, grove devatas, tree devatas, and devatas dwelling in medicinal herbs and forest giants assembled and said to me, 'Make a wish, householder, thus. May I become a wheel-turning monarch in the future.' And I said to them, 'That too is impermanent, that too is unstable. One must abandon that too and pass on.' And they asked him, 'What advantage do those devatas see, master, that they speak to you thus?' And he said, 'It occurs to those devatas, this Citta the householder is virtuous, of good character. If he should wish, may I become a wheel-turning monarch in the future. As he is virtuous, this wish of his could succeed because of its purity. The righteous king of righteousness will provide righteous offerings.' Seeing this advantage, those devatas assembled and said, 'Make a wish, householder, thus. May I become a wheel-turning monarch in the future.' And I said to them, 'That too is impermanent, that too is unstable. One must abandon that too and pass on.'" Let's stop here for a moment. So Citta said, these devas, they thought that Citta, if he makes a wish, he can become a wheel-turning king. And if he becomes a wheel-turning king, he's such a good person, then he will ask the people to make offerings to all these devatas. So that's why they thought it's good if he can become a king and humans will make offerings to these devatas. And his friends and relatives said to Citta, "Then exhort us too, householder." Asked him to advise them also. And he said, "Therefore you should train yourselves thus. We will be possessed of confirmed confidence in the Buddha." That means saddha, unshakable confidence in the Buddha thus. The Blessed One is an arahant, perfectly enlightened, accomplished in true knowledge and conduct, fortunate knower of the world, unsurpassed leader of persons to be tamed, teacher of devas and humans, the enlightened one, the Blessed One. We will be possessed of confirmed confidence in the Dhamma thus. The Dhamma is well expounded by the Blessed One, directly visible, immediate, inviting one to come and see, applicable to be personally experienced by the wise. We will be possessed of confirmed confidence in the Sangha thus. The Sangha of the Blessed One's disciples is practicing the good way, practicing the straight way, practicing the true way, practicing the proper way, that is, the 4 pairs of persons, the 8 types of individuals. This Sangha of the Blessed One's disciples is worthy of gifts, worthy of hospitality, worthy of offerings, worthy of reverential salutation, the unsurpassed field of merit for the world. Whatever there may be in our family that can be given away, all that we will share unreservedly with the virtuous ones who are of good character. It is in such a way that you should train yourselves. And having inspired confidence in the Buddha, the Dhamma and the Sangha among his friends and colleagues, his relatives and kinsmen, and having exhorted them in generosity, Citta, the householder, passed away. That's the end of the sutta. So he was reborn in the Suddhavasa heavens, which is the 4th jhana heaven, because he had attained the 3rd fruit, Anagamin. But later, I think he came back to see the Buddha. Many of the Buddha's disciples, after they had gone to heaven, they remember the Buddha. They still come back to see him. So we are finished with chapter 41 now. We went to every of the 10 suttas, which was quite interesting.